Patterson was a screenwriter and songwriter on the first season of HBO's The Righteous Gemstones, and she also as Judys Gemstone. I'm Riley Chow of Gold Derby, here with her now. Now, as with any show, you did a lot of press at the start, or at the end, because perhaps the most hilarious on television this season, I think, Beach to BJ, Outback Steakhouse in the finale. So I just want to know everything about how that scene came about.
Cool. Well, first of all, thanks. I love that scene too. It came about kind of early on when we were writing, and it just seemed like an interesting aspect for Judy to have, that she never really had a boyfriend, and kind of the one she had was this dark tale. And so I wrote the monologue, and it kept sort of sliding into different episodes, and it would be her talking to different people. Like, she initially wasn't even telling that story to BJ, and it kept sort of sliding, and we would go like, oh, it doesn't quite, but then it would make it into table read. And then we just finally figured out, oh, it goes in the finale, and it's for sure to BJ. We just wanted to highlight a very vulnerable tale for Judy, and give you a more insight into her psyche.
Right. So with that out of the way, I want to go back to the very beginning, before the show started. So you figured very prominently in Vice Principals, toward the end especially, because initially you were a guest star, but you ended up being kind of the villain of the show. So do you know if that was always the plan for you to have such prominence in the show going forward, or toward the end, I mean?
It actually kind of morphed. I think 5 episodes in the first season, and initially we thought it was going to be, but Danny and I have a really, really good time acting together and writing together, and I think just things started to come clear about the possibilities of Miss Abbott and what she could mean to Gamby and Russell, and how that could all tie in. And yeah, I think the second season morphed a little bit before it happened. I don't think the initial thoughts were for Miss Abbott to be a part of it, and then that all changed and got rewritten. I became the luckiest girl in the world.
Okay, so then Danny McBride, he's this new Righteous Gemstones, and he says he wants you to play the sister.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, how did the role change from kind of that initial conversation that he had with you? Did you have a part in it, or what else did you alter about her?
No, the was all Danny, and when he first started telling me about it, we were going to be sort of kind of a more typically good family, and probably have enemies who were clear bad. And then Danny started thinking about it more and thought, wow, why wouldn't we be those ones? And not that we don't think they're bad, they're just complicated. But he decided, like, oh yeah, let's go toward the more fun ones, sort of flawed and weird ones. And he had asked me to play Judy, his sister, and he had thought of the names and the whole line of the family. And then when I came to help write the first season, I had input on, how she could be, and nuances of character and stuff. But the initial idea for the Gemstones was 100 Danny, the whole world.
So we always see the same group of guys and sort of a two-word. So I'm wondering if you could distinguish from Jody Hill and in terms of what they bring.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, first of all, I have to say, in all honesty, all 3 of them are in my opinion, incredible directors. Danny is so good with, some of my language around this is going to be sort of naive or uninformed because, I didn't go to film school to be a director, but he's really good momentum, forward and like giant things happening in a propelled fashion, if that makes any sense. If you think he directed that episode where Gamby and Russell have a fight all the way through the hallways of the school.
Yeah.
He's good with, I feel like Danny's so good with epic, big worlds and giant escalations. And inside of that, he's so good at catching hilarious moments. The thing with all three of them that I think is pretty incredible is they all come from the set that real are what make them funny. It's not about having a wink or any sort of like, I know this is funny, so I think that's why all their stuff is so magical, is because people are just saying what they mean. Characters may be saying insane things and doing insane things, but everyone means it, and nobody's trying to be funny. Jody is awesome at letting something open up and seeing in the moment that maybe, oh wow, we didn't think it could feel like this, but let's go with this thing that showed up in this moment. And then he's very open to vibe in a really kind of a superpower way that is really cool, because it can lead to like awesome vulnerability and sensitivity, which just adds to the humor. And Dave is, wow, God, they're all so good. David loves weird things, and he doesn't like them because they're weird. He likes them because they're real. And so he brings an almost a look behind, like if you're at the carnival and you go in the mirror room and you start looking at a creepy version of yourself and you go like, oh wow, I never knew it, but that is me. He's like finding the weird thing that's true and then turning it up, if that makes any sense. I know I've gotten a little esoteric with talking about all three of them, but I think they're all three incredible. Very, very different. The through line with all of them is a sort of a truth, if that makes sense.
So on this first season, you made your screenwriting debut, I guess, within it, with the 6th episode. The episode that was the one for you to actually script.
Yeah, it's interesting because the way the writer's room worked in the first season, everyone has a hand in writing everything. That's just sort of how it works, is you end up getting sort of assigned to a certain episode. But I will say that I wrote a big bulk of 6. You kind of get assigned a thing to look at the whole time, even though you're looking at all of it. I don't know if any of that makes sense, but 6 did end up being kind of a Judy episode, and she goes through a big arc in that episode with, getting wooed by baby Billy and wanting to be like her mom, and finally feeling like someone is giving her a shot to shine and to be as important as her brothers. So yeah, I would say that's the reason my name is on 6, is it became it became sort of Judy's episode. And so yeah, I had a big hand in that one for sure.
Can you tell me broadly about writing for women and kind of carrying that torch in the creative process, as the only woman in the writer's room? Because this is a show like so many on television where the cast is overwhelmingly male. Yes, so what do you bring with the female perspective, I guess, to the show? I think that maybe
I think that maybe it's an interesting thing because my approach is let's write interesting people and messed up people and sensitive, weird, aggressive, whatever adjective here. Let's write these people, and some of them happen to be women. I think the thing I bring to it is I am a woman, so whatever I think is going to just be informed by that. But I would say that the approach with the Righteous Gemstones is let's write interesting, funny people. And I think that's great because I think there can be a little bit of a you can almost like handicap yourself before the race if you think about let me start from the standpoint of this is a woman. It seems like more freeing and fun to think about this is a person and they have all these weird attributes. Okay, now let's think about that they're also a woman or they're a man. If that makes any sense. It's like it's not the thing we lead with. I think that's good because of that, Judy can be just as, or probably in the case of the Righteous Gemstones, more screwed up than her brothers. And I think that's really a cool and good thing.
You were credited on the first season as a consulting producer. Do you know if you have a new title for the second season?
I think I'm probably that again. I don't really know. I didn't, I would think that's probably what I am again. That's what, I think that's what all the writers were called. Except for maybe we had 2 staff writers, and this last time we probably had 2 staff writers. But yeah, I think I'm a consulting producer again. Someone will tell me if that's.
I've gotten very conflicting reports about where the show in its second season. I guess since you're now filming in LA, the reports are different. So yeah, have you filmed it? How much have you written? What do you know about how far along the second season is?
So we've written the second season, and we shot for 2 days in South Carolina, and then had to everything shut down with coronavirus. And yeah, the second season's written though, and it's awesome. And we just that we can all get together and do it. I'm chomping at the bit. I can't wait.
What can you tease about Judys Journey in the second season?
I don't know that I can tease about anyone's journey in the second season, aside from if you like watching the Gemstones get into messes and they handle things, you'll enjoy the second season.
And finally, we have to talk about that song "Misbehavin'" that you're from the 5th episode. And it's a song. It's a song where I know you've heard that people say, like, it sounds like a song, which sounds like kind of a backhanded compliment. But I heard it. I just assumed that it was, from my time. So can you talk about, like, what is that sound that makes people think that this is already in existence and it's been a hit already?
Yeah. So me, Danny wrote that song, and Joey does a lot of our music for the show. And I've started with the vibe that we wanted. We knew we wanted that sort of like old school, like almost down home country vibe, but there's a whole other vibe that happens with when sort of Jesus and our mix, and it's a style. It's literally a style of music, and we knew I don't even know what it's called. I don't know if it's called Christian country, Christian hoedown. I have no idea what it's called. That kind of song. And then one day in the writer's room, Danny thought of that for line, and he started going like, "Mama told me not to. I did it anyway. Misbehave." Oh, now I really know what you mean. I super know what you mean. I think he thought of the first two lines, and it sparked something in me. Mama told me not to. I did anyway. And then the daddy line. Daddy said, "Don't. If you do, you're gonna pay." And so that sparked me, and then I thought of a chunk of stuff of like what it meant to be like a country kid being, and that was really making me laugh. Of like playing with a stick and swimming in the creek and, you know, all that stuff. And so I wrote a chunk in the middle, and then we literally, while laughing, recorded it into Danny's phone and sent it to Joey. And then Joey instantly got it. It was floating in the air. It all happened really fast. And he was like, "Oh, I get it." And then he wrote some great lyrics. Joey wrote, in my opinion, the funniest line of the song, with running through the house with a pickle in my mouth. Why that equals being bad idea, but you know that equals bad. But yeah, it was really quick. The next morning, Joey had a track for us, like a rough, and yeah, it for what we wanted, it was pretty perfect, pretty quick, and I really love that song.
Okay, Edie, well, thanks so much for taking the time to chat. We look forward to you getting back to shooting the Righteous Gemstones with day 3 of shooting, I guess.
Yeah.
To our viewers, you can check out our other interviews with Emmy contenders on our YouTube channel, and go to goldderby.com to make your predictions.
Awesome. Thanks so much.